Imagine working so hard that your body collapses before your ambition does. Imagine leaving your house before sunrise and returning home after midnight, not for a week, not for a month, but for years and years. In Japan, there is a word for death caused by overworking, karoshi. When society creates a word just for dying from working too much, we have to ask ourselves, is this really what we want our framework of success to be like? Hustle culture is simply unrealistic. How are you supposed to work properly and take care of your own job when you can't even take care of your own mental health? Of more than 30,000 cases related to suicide in Japan, is it really worth it? I don't think so. Hustle culture has made a system that damages mental health and distorts how humans perview failure as. It has valued productivity over human life. It shows how destructive and capitalistic we are. It shows the systematic failure we have all made. Firstly, then, note that hustle culture normalizes exhaustion. It glorifies 16-hour workdays. It glorifies being tired because being tired means that you have worked really hard, and it views rest as a sign of weakness and laziness. According to global health organizations, long working hours are actually strongly linked to a higher risk of anxiety, depression, and stress. When people are constantly stressed and chronically emotionally drained, they don't become more creative or productive. They become tired and numb to emotions. They die to reach cruel expectations and societal benchmarks. Sure, hustle culture may increase output in the short term, but long term, it produces breakdowns instead of breakthroughs. A system that needs people to sacrifice their own soul and personality just to meet public appraisal is not motivating. It is a very, very unsustainable mechanism. Secondly, note that we have to also realize that hustle culture makes failure too personal. Society literally celebrates and glorifies billionaires who started from nothing. And we are told that if they can do it, well, why can't you? But those story panels are one in a million. This is because of the term lottery of birth. Nobody ever gets to choose where they were born, and it's up to your own luck to decide whether you're born with a golden spoon in your mouth or in a poor community. Some people just have better starting points. They were always provided with support and more opportunities from the very get go. Life was never even fair to begin with panels. And note, when success is framed as the only result of relentless pursuits of hard work, failure becomes a very personal flaw. If you didn't make it, you didn't, quote unquote, grind hard enough. But that kind of lens ignores reality. Because in the actual reality, some people just cannot get to the same level of success even when they have worked hard enough. Some people started with a boost, others were pushed downwards. Systems are unfair, opportunities are unequal, and that is the truth. And here's the thing, right? Hustle culture shift the blame from systematic failure to individual failure. And when people believe failure is entirely their own individual fault, they feel shame instead of resilience. So they break down and lose faith in society, exposing just how cruel humans are and just how prone to manipulation we are. Failure, failure should not be viewed as a lesson and not humiliation. But hustle culture rewires that thought and flips it around, and that is the harm of hustle culture. But ultimately, then, thirdly, hustle culture promotes a very dangerous cycle and definition of what we frame success to be like. It defines success as achievement at like any cost, right? But as flawless outcomes that resulted from the relentless hard work, that is not success. Progress that treats human lives as a trade off is never real progress. It is the problem driven by the systematic normalization of overworking to maximize corporate profit at the expense of human lives. Sure, countries like Japan are often praised for its efficiency and innovation, its high-end technology that surpasses most countries in the status quo. But if that kind of efficiency depends on constant and chronic burnout and rising mental health issues, that model is not sustainable at all. It is just incentivized by huge corporate leaders to maximize their own individual revenue and profit. They force hustle culture for their own workers so that they can get the best revenue. I initially thought that human greed was at its limit when I read Animal Farm by George Orwell, but I think it has changed forms now into a much more invisible and hard to notice kind of form. Remember, society cannot truly thrive if its people are barely surviving panels. So what must change, right? Change must happen at under 3 levels. 1, workplaces, secondly, family, and thirdly, individuals. To put it simply, workplaces must protect rest and incentivize workers to take care of their own well-being. They should never punish people from resting. Secondly, families must stop glorifying and glazing constantly overworking as a badge of honor. And thirdly, individuals have to understand that self-care is not the same as laziness. It is a crucial responsibility in of itself. They should be able to look at the bigger picture, not conforming to the manipulation perpetuated by global corporate leaders. We have to redefine success because success at the end of the day should include balance, mental well-being, and sustainability. Ambition is never the enemy, unhealthy pressure is. So hustle culture promises success, right? It is very bright and tempting, like a light always just a little further down the tunnel. But more often than not, what it leaves behind is a much more quieter, tired body and restless minds. And people who no longer remember how to slow down in life. It asks for just one more late night, one more sacrifice, one more all-nighter, and one more piece of your own sense of humanity. But if that success depends on your health, the small piece you carry inside, and your relationships, then it was never success to begin with. It is simply survival, wearing the mask of ambition and corrupt corporate greed. Any society that applauds burnout as if it were victory has forgotten something important. Success, if it is truly worth the name, should lift people up, not slowly wear them down. And no measure of productivity will ever be worth the cost of even a single human life. Thank you.